A dissection can be a fun and exciting way for children to learn more about animals. But the tools used are sharp and can be dangerous. If your kids are small, help them out by handling the tools and making the incisions yourself.
Make sure you perform all the dissections in a well-ventilated room. The preservative is quite stinky. Make sure everybody washes their hands and the dissection tools after handling the specimens to remove all the preservative.
Before we get started on our dissection, there are a few important terms we should review, the word scientists use to describe a specimen. Anterior means towards the front, and posterior means towards the rear. Dorsal means towards the top or back, and ventral means towards the stomach or bottom. Cranial means towards the head, and caudal means towards the tail of our specimen. From the outside, the fetal pig looks very much like an adult pig, only smaller. They have a short snout at the anterior end of the body, a pair of ears, a pair of eyes which are still closed, and 4 legs ending in hoofs which each have 4 toes. Like adult pigs, the fetal pigs also have a short tail at the posterior end of the body. Adult pigs have a tough layer of skin which is covered by a coat of coarse hair. The fetal pig's skin, however, is much softer than the adult's and hasn't yet been covered with a coat of hair. Other than its smaller size, the most obvious difference between a fetal pig and an adult pig is the tube-like structure sticking out of the fetal pig's abdomen. This is the umbilical cord, which connects the fetal pig to its mother's placenta. Shortly after birth, the fetal pig's umbilical cord drops off. For a simple and successful dissection, it helps if you have the right tools for the job. For starters, you'll need some sort of dissecting tray. Now you can buy one of these, or you can also make one like we have, out of a piece of styrofoam which we've covered with a cloth.
You will also need dissecting pins to hold your specimen down.
And a scalpel, and a pair of dissecting scissors here, which have a blunt end front, to cut your specimen up with.
You will also need forceps, which look like tweezers, to hold the specimen.
And the last thing here is a pair of probes. This one has a blunt end, and this one has a sharper point to it. We use those to point to different organs in our specimen and also to probe away and scrape at the different tissues.
Most of these things can be found together in a dissecting kit at your university bookstore. And don't forget to put on a pair of rubber gloves to protect your hand.
Take the fetal pig and place it ventral side up on the dissection tray. And we pin the hind legs down like so. And with the forceps, we lift the skin just above the umbilical cord, and using the scalpel, we make a small incision through the skin, being careful not to go too deep. Now, using the pair of scissors, we cut upwards towards where the sternum or breastbone begins, being careful not to damage the internal organs by cutting too deeply. Next, we cut around the umbilical cord to the legs, like so. And we repeat the same thing on the other side. Then we cut through the sternum and across the legs like this. Now we'll make an incision straight up the midline of our pig towards its chin. And finally, we'll cut through the ribs of our fetal pig and pin the body wall down to reveal its internal structures. The aorta is the main single artery of the mammalian body. It's the large vessel here, emerging from the left ventricle of the heart. The aorta branches off to many tributaries, carrying oxygenated blood to the tissues and organs of the body. The colon, or large intestine, extends from the end of the small intestine to the rectum. Salts and water are absorbed from the end products of digestion in the colon. Solid wastes are also formed in the colon. The red artery and blue vein on the surface of the heart are the coronary artery and vein. The coronary artery supplies oxygenated blood to the tissues of the heart, while the coronary vein returns deoxygenated blood to the right atrium of the heart. The diaphragm is the muscular wall lying here between the thorax and the abdomen of all mammals. When the diaphragm contracts, air is forced into the lungs. When the diaphragm relaxes, air is forced out of the lungs. That's how all mammals breathe. The long, straight tube which runs from the pharynx to the stomach of the fetal pig is called the esophagus. It serves as a passageway for food into the stomach. If we raise the liver, we find the gallbladder, a small sac which stores bile secreted by the liver. When food enters the first part of the small intestine, bile is released from the gallbladder and travels through the bile duct to the duodenum, where it aids in digestion. Like all mammals, the fetal pig's heart has 4 chambers: the left atrium, the right atrium, the left ventricle, and the right ventricle. The function of the heart is to pump blood throughout the body. The inferior vena cava receives deoxygenated blood from the vessels serving the posterior regions of the body and joins the right atrium of the heart here. The fetal pig has a pair of kidneys which lie dorsal to the digestive organs in the abdominal cavity. The kidneys remove wastes from the blood and produce urine. The large dark organ lying just below the diaphragm is the liver. The fetal pig's liver has 5 lobes. The liver produces bile, a substance which helps in the digestion of fats. The lungs of the fetal pig have 3 lobes. This one, the cardiac lobe, covers the right atrium of the heart. The lungs feel spongy to the touch because they're filled with microscopic air sacs called alveoli. The alveoli are the site of gas exchange, where oxygen enters the bloodstream and carbon dioxide leaves as we breathe. The pancreas is the spongy tissue lying below the stomach here. It secretes enzymes which aid in food digestion and also produces the hormone insulin, which helps digest sugars. In most cases, arteries carry oxygenated blood and veins carry deoxygenated blood. The reverse is true when the pulmonary arteries and veins are considered. Here, we've removed a heart to make them easier to see. The pulmonary arteries carry deoxygenated blood from the right ventricle of the heart, here, to the lungs. And the pulmonary veins carry this blood, now full of oxygen, from the lungs to the left atrium of the heart. The very end part of the colon is called the rectum. It opens to the body surface at the anus, which is where solid waste leaves the body. The male fetal pig has a pair of testes located here inside the scrotal sacs. Sperm cells are produced in the testes of mature male pigs. Females have a pair of ovaries lying posterior to the kidneys, here and here. Eggs or ova are released by the ovaries of mature females, ready for fertilization by male sperm cells. The small intestine runs from the stomach to the beginning of the colon. The section of the small intestine immediately following the stomach is called the duodenum. Glands located inside the small intestine produce enzymes which complete the digestion of food. The spleen lies on the left side of the body, around the stomach. In the fetal pig, it produces red blood cells. In adult pigs, the spleen stores red blood cells and eliminates old red blood cells. If we pull the liver forward, we expose the stomach, which lies on the left side of the fetal pig's body. It's sort of J-shaped. The stomach serves as a storage area for food and contains acid and enzymes which begin the digestion of food. The superior vena cava receives deoxygenated blood from the vessels of the anterior regions of the body and joins the right atrium of the heart, right here. The trachea or windpipe is found here, running down from the larynx. It's quite tough, supported with rings of cartilage to prevent it from collapsing. The trachea carries air down toward the lungs. The urinary bladder of the pig lies here, ventral to the colon. Urine is produced by the kidneys and travels down these tubes called ureters to the urinary bladder, where it's temporarily stored.